Multimedia in the classroom. What's the big deal? This is a resource that's used more and more by educators. And what are exactly the benefits? Why is it so popular? So, what is multimedia? It is defined as the integration of text, graphics, animation, sound, or video. And so it's much more than video, although that is a main component that we think of when we think of multimedia resources in the classroom. That definition is according to the Florida Center for Instructional Technology. And part of the reason it has become so much more popular is because it's really much easier than it had been before to create these multimedia resources for teachers as well as for students. There is some hardware required, but each of these can be kind of somewhat optional. You can go as far as you'd like to with it. So at the very basic level, you need a computer or a tablet even to create multimedia resources. Digital cameras are helpful as well. You might use a scanner depending on maybe the graphics that you're using. You could get a video digitizer, which would record scenes from and portions from other videos, but needing to be careful of copyright issues. If you'd like, you can use a camcorder, but a lot of times your built-in video on your phone or your tablet or your computer is helpful. Same with microphones and speakers. You can get fancier with them, but again, your phones, your tablets, your computers, all are coming with these supplies. So again, making the use of multimedia resources so much easier to be incorporated into the classroom. And then you also might need some software. And again, this can range. You can spend hundreds of dollars on software for video editing, but you can also spend a minimal amount and get a few less options. And there's also a lot of great free options as well. The one I'm using, Screencast-O-Matic, is free and really great to use. So multimedia in the classroom is popular, gaining popularity because it can be so easy to create and has so many benefits. And if you don't feel like creating your own materials, there's a great wealth of resources that are open to use on the internet. Because it can be overwhelming and time consuming to create these materials. So there was a study done by Tan and Pierce, and they found that integrating materials from the internet into your lesson plans is perfectly reasonable, that students are open to it. They're open to they view it sort of as a modern day reading list to view these videos. It was also an opportunity to evaluate videos. Not all of them are created equal. And so there's a lot of benefits of bringing in resources made by other people and using those as a teaching tool, incorporating them in a lesson plan, not necessarily just having them stand alone as a lesson, but incorporating them into a wider discussion or a wider activity. So there's no harm in pulling those resources from elsewhere. So one of the more popular ways of incorporating multimedia is audio and video production. So this can be in the form of podcasts or vodcasts, just videos in general. You can use these to show demonstrations of things that will be done in the classroom. You can show these videos or podcasts to gain attention, to gain interest in your students and learners. You can create your own video lectures. And as talked about in the previous slide, you can build students' visual literacy. They can start to learn about what are the different techniques that are used to gain attention, and they can think about the sources of the information and how reliable some videos are. Just because it's on YouTube doesn't mean that it's true, and you want students to learn that. And there's a lot of benefits to viewing videos and using videos in the class. 13.org said that there's increased motivation from learners, that videos increase retention, especially for those people that are visual learners. Videos are obviously a lot more visual. You can take students on a virtual field trip. So if you can't go to Paris to show them Versailles, you can show them a video that shows them that same thing. So that's a way that I would use videos in social studies. Also in history, videos are great to show reenacted historical scenes, because of course you can't repeat history, but you can reenact it and you can show it, and it helps students to gain more of an understanding, a visual understanding of what happened, instead of just reading about it. Some great things that I've found as I've incorporated videos into the classroom and video lectures as well is you've got to think about, well, how different is this really from traditional lecturing? We're just putting this video online. And so I have found the tools, I use Zaption more than I use Edpuzzle, but it's a great way to pull in a video either from YouTube or one that you've made yourself, and you can stop at different portions in the video and insert questions for students to answer. And so it helps it to go beyond, well, this is just a traditional lecture, but it's online. It adds that interactive element that allows students and helps you to be sure that students are interacting with the material and not just glazing over all of the information. And then you can also have students create these video projects. And again, with all the technology that has been introduced, it's much more helpful or easy for students to create videos themselves. They learn a lot of skills in the process. They have to organize the information, they have to communicate with each other, figure out how they're going to communicate the message that they're trying to send, and then of course all the problem solving that goes into creating the actual video. And there's lots of fun ways to incorporate. EdTech Teacher suggests Common Craft style videos where you have little drawings enter and exit the scene. You can have students create movie trailers, maybe about a historical time period. And then you also have the RSA Animate type videos where you have a whiteboard, people illustrating on a whiteboard with a narration, and you speed up the whiteboard drawings. So lots of great video projects that students can really have fun creating and also learning the material. But video is not the only way to incorporate multimedia into the classroom. There's presentation software such as PowerPoint and Google Presentation that has been addressed before. There's hypermedia, where students can create a lot of really interesting maybe posters and other materials using the Adobe suite, and so that they learn a lot more technical skills. And there's also virtual environments that are coming in more and more to classrooms, where students can actually, experience a 3D model, or they can have avatars and experience this virtual world. And all of those are things that increase motivation and retention. But again, videos have been more popular and definitely easiest to incorporate for teachers and students. And this is a look at the references that I use throughout the presentation. Thanks for listening.